Cold open? When's the last cold open we had? I'll tell you. It was the very first episode ever, Season 1, Episode 1, which cold opened on the Great Council of 101 AC. This time it's 30 years later, and Daemon looks exactly the same. It seems Rhaenyra has forced him not to use Caraxes to burn this very large army where they stand in their armor, and instead accept their surrender and accept their fraudulent Daeron.
Our campaign is ended! We take the Rose Road homeward!
Hey, I know that road. Haven't taken it personally, but it was commanded to be built by Daemon's grandfather, King Jaehaerys, along with the River Road, the Ocean Road, the Gold Road, the King's Road of course. Alright, I'll stop naming roads. House of the Dragon Season 3 Episode 3 is titled Rhaenyra Triumphant, which they yanked right out of Fire and Blood Chapter 16. Oh boy, do I love book accuracy. No spoilers for the future of House of the Dragon, but if I do, I'll warn you first.
I almost forgot.
Daemon almost forgot about Daeron, the nephew he's never seen before, which is a reference to how the writers almost forgot to include Daeron up until right now. And by Daeron, I do mean this random peasant kid whose hair Ormond Hightower bleached silver and whom Ormond blackmailed into committing espionage. For the real Daeron, we're gonna have to wait. And this entire subplot would be impossible if it wasn't for HBO's penchant for misadapting George Martin's books. Because if the Targaryens had purple eyes in these shows, as I painstakingly and so professionally do myself, then Ormond would have no way to pass off a non-Valyrian as a Valyrian. I doubt purple contacts existed in Westeros, but they do have some pretty damn good bleach. And I'm gonna need a sip of that bleach because it turns out that the very first time in this TV show's history, that's 21 episodes if you're keeping score, Rhaenyra's first ever on-screen dialogue with one of her siblings is with fake Daeron. Good lord, imagine how much better I would do running the show. The testimony of Mushroom would be getting lots more play, at least. Rhaenyra decides to use the put under house arrest option with Daeron, which is, admittedly, a button I don't think I've ever pressed in Crusader Kings. Daeron is sort of Aegon's heir, basically, or Aemon's heir, since he's been calling himself king recently. Cause Jaehaerys got decapitated, Maelor doesn't exist, and girls can't inherit anything. Oh hey, wait a minute.
Yes, Aegon hanged all the rat catchers.
Gee, it'd be a damn shame if you beheaded the guy who, in Fire and Blood, had the ingenious idea of unleashing tons of cats into the Red Keep to deal with the rat infestation after King Aegon the Brave hanged all the rat catchers on the freaking castle walls. I guess the writers had to keep Otto imprisoned this entire time so that he couldn't introduce his all-important cat solution so that Rhaenyra could do the rat feast with all the King's Landing nobility. Is this what butterfly effect means?
Where is my gold?
Where are my dragons?
I'm of no help to you. It was the Master of Coin who removed it.
And the Queen knew nothing of it.
Mind you, Alicent was physically, if not mentally, present during the scene in which Tywin Lannister said he was dividing the gold.
Lord Lannister.
The treasury is well in hand. The gold will be divided for safekeeping.
I guess he just never specified where he was sending the crown's gold, and the Queen didn't think to find out? This is a nitpick, but kind of funny anyways. I also noticed they're using the same deafening effect with Rhaenyra that they used for Alicent.
Unrest and rebellion.
Do the common folk not deserve?
It's only a matter of time before he inherits his grandsire's mantle.
A well-done, non-verbal cue that Rhaenyra and Alicent are more similar than they are different, put under immense political pressure with no easy way out. Okay, so Helaena is the first real sibling Rhaenyra converses with on House of the Dragon. 21 episodes, people. She asks if killing Otto and Jasper made Rhaenyra feel better about losing Jace. Helena's son Jaehaerys was killed in retribution for Lucerys, and now after Jaehaerys dies, it's her grandfather Otto who dies, though not really for retribution. Otto would have been beheaded even if Jace lived. I think this was just a chance for Rhaenyra to reveal to Helaena how Alicent arranged Aegon's death. At least, I'm interpreting Phia Saban's eyes darting back and forth here as being surprised that this arrangement had been made. After all, Aegon is her brother and her husband, and by all accounts has treated her basically pretty well, and Helaena herself believes, or rather knows, that Aegon will sit the throne again. She says so in last season's finale.
Aegon will be king again. He's yet to see victory. He sits on a wooden throne.
The one downfall of making Helena's character more interesting by having these prescient dragon dreams is that you really have to sideline her so that she doesn't just reveal the whole storyline. I'd love to know what Helena's thinking right now regarding Rhaenyra's new reign and her prophecy of Aegon retaking his throne, but alas, we're only allotted these tiny crumbs of Helaena. God, Phia Saban is pretty. Good lord, man. And this isn't an altogether terrible scene between Rhaenyra and Alicent, which is kind of a miracle in the big Season 3. Alicent, as a hostage, is now in a position where she must pray for her son Aemon's death, because that means she and Helaena and Jaehaera will be free to leave. And Rhaenyra has zero sympathy for her because she's already lost 2 of her sons. Plus, Alicent completely sold them out last season, so I'm not sure why she's even pushing back here. For a normal mother, it makes sense not wanting your sons to die, but Alicent literally already arranged it. Alicent's writing is extremely incongruous from episode to episode. The writers have her sell her sons out for death, while simultaneously asking us, the audience, to feel bad that she's in this position. They want to have their lemon cakes and eat them too. Yo, it's Big E, Septon Eustace, my absolute dog. Haven't seen him since Aegon's coronation 4 years ago. For those of you non-Fire and Blood readers, Septon Eustace is one of the primary sources referenced by Archmaester Gildain in his Chronicle of the Dance, along with Mushroom and Orwyle and some other maesters. I adore this scene between Eustace and Rhaenyra, peppering in some outside tension to her reign in addition to all the tension from inside her walls. It would have been super helpful if, instead of picking at his scabs all day long, King Viserys would have named Rhaenyra his Hand of the King and let her be familiarized with all the tedium of ruling a realm, tedium like Big Eustace right here, but Viserys was awful, and I'm happy he's dead. And Daemon's no help either. His solution is to let the peasants starve. He'd probably burn the entire Faith of the Seven workforce like Visenya the Conqueror wanted to do, and basically be a god himself.
Alyn of Hull and his brother Addam are my sons. They are born of a woman, a shipwright I met on my earlier travels.
Marilda of Hull, almost mentioned here by Corlys. Marilda was a shipwright's daughter who Corlys impregnated when she was either 15 or 16. Corlys would have been 60-something, and is currently in his late 70s, but still moving like a young man out there. Too bad he's an ephebophile.
What would your father do?
What would Viserys do? He'd ask his good buddy Lionel to take care of it.
This is the stuff, Lionel.
Or his old buddy Otto, I suppose. But I guess Mysaria's point is that the city prospered under Viserys' rule, so how did he make it work? The answer is obvious. Viserys didn't have a nationwide civil war on his hands directly caused by his predecessor. I repeat, Viserys is the one who caused all this mess. I mean, Rhaenyra did the blockade, obviously, but this never would have been an issue if Viserys was competent and either paved a smoother path for Rhaenyra's ascension, or simply named Aegon his heir instead. But that's just my broke boy brain thinking on behalf of the small folk. Daemon knights the dragon seeds because he's a knight and any knight can make a knight. Daemon was knighted at age 16 in 97 AC, during King Jaehaerys' reign. Perhaps by Jaehaerys himself, but we don't know for sure. Ryam Redwine of the Kingsguard was still alive at that point, a famous warrior, and Daemon's father Balon was a knight, and plenty of other people could have knighted Daemon, and this tangent doesn't really matter. Drop your theories down in the comments about who gave Daemon his knighthood. It could have been Pate the Woodcock.
But I come before you as a conciliator.
Yeah. She's just like old King Jerry, who would rather have shat his pants in public than let a woman ascend the throne. Not exactly a feminist role model, but a pretty great king. Good at conciliating, which is Rhaenyra's point. You know, sometimes my brilliant analysis surprises even myself. This guy is Torrhen Manderly, the heir to White Harbor. Jace met with his father Desmond off-screen before heading to Winterfell, and he negotiated House Manderly support for Queen Rhaenyra. The deal involved Joffrey, who's currently sucking his thumb in the Vale, marrying Lord Desmond Manderly's youngest daughter someday. And Torrhen also has a brother, Medric, who I hope is around here somewhere. They're awesome. I love the Manderlys, and I hate Game of Thrones for what they did to Wyman. And I'm happy the writers aren't making Rhaenyra too sympathetic, at least in this instance, by forgetting it was her blockade in the first place. Damage that can't be undone by her Uber Eats delivery last season and taking some gold from King's Landing's nobility. Torrhen keeps her honest, and since he's so rich and powerful and his castle is super far away, Rhaenyra can't really do anything to him. I also loved Daemon's monologue here about becoming gods, despite the genocidal undertones. He speaks of conquering Dorne, something Aegon the Conqueror failed to do, and then the entirety of Essos, including Yiti and the City of the Winged Men. That place is supposedly here on the coast of the Hidden Sea, at the eastern edge of the map of the known world. Even Corlys Velaryon, in all his famous voyages, never made it this far, but Daemon wants to fly Caraxes there and subdue them. I'm not even sure how you'd go about administrating a realm the size of the entire Earth, making sure you've got loyal Castellans in each location who are collecting tribute and everything, but the glory days of the Valyrian freehold still hold a place in Daemon's heart. And we can see that Daemon learned all the wrong lessons from that Weirwood vision he had last season. He thinks that's what Aegon's prophecy means, what the dragons were meant for him specifically, and Rhaenyra, to be gods among men and conquer the whole world. He says Viserys renounced his dragon and never strove for greatness, which is consistent with Daemon's lifelong feud against him. Once Balerion the Black Dread died, Viserys never tried bonding with another dragon, and had zero interest in actually making a new Valyria. He was simply kind of a weeb for Valyria, and made a model of it out of Lincoln logs in his playroom.
You still have to kill Daeron.
Matt Smith is a treasure. This line is maybe the funniest moment of the series for me. I don't really laugh out loud very easily, but I chuckled here. Something so morose, said so plainly after a conversation about conquering the world. He's just so charming, that Matt Smith. So I'll go ahead and excuse the wife killing, and Rhaenyra grooming, and Jaehaerys decapitating. So Rhaenyra is using her son Joffrey's legitimacy as an excuse to not raise up Corlys' bastards. But Joffrey is heir to the Iron Throne, not Driftmark. What's her plan for Driftmark if Corlys drops dead tomorrow? Perhaps she'd rather Baela or Rhaena be heir instead, as daughters of Lena? I don't see why Rhaenyra can't just have Joffrey take the Targaryen name once he ascends the throne, like Jaehaerys was going to do, and let Alyn Velaryon inherit Driftmark. Corlys is old as hell and needs to figure his succession out, a problem Rhaenyra should be sympathetic towards. So that's a fun conundrum I hope gets unraveled as the episodes progress. That's it for my Chris view of episode 3. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts, and as always, this video is brought to you by my Patreon. For $5 per month, you can get early access to every video I make, plus exclusive stuff like Crusader Kings Game of Thrones mod gameplay, and other stuff. Thank you to everybody whose name is on screen right here, and thanks to all of you for watching and subscribing. Alright, love you, goodbye.
You still have to kill Daeron.